So take a look at this. This is Tesla's Optimus robot. Just one example of the stunning progress being made on the AI front right now. Here's one of AI's most influential figures, OpenAI CEO Sam Altman.
The thing I think the world is not ready for, like people have maybe abstractly thought like, okay, it's going to be a better programmer than me. It's going to be, better at customer support, whatever. I don't think the world has really had the humanoid robots moment yet. Like the first day you're like walking down the street and there's like 7 robots that walk past you doing things or whatever, it's going to feel very sci-fi. And I don't think that's very far away from like a visceral, like, oh man, this is going to do a lot of things that people used to do. So yeah, it's coming.
I don't think I'm ready for it. Let's bring in former Congressman Mike Gallagher. He's served in the Marine Corps as an intelligence officer and is now head of defense at Palantir Technologies, a data analytics and AI software company. Good to have you with us today, Mr. Gallagher. Is Sam Altman right about that? And what are the ramifications of that? How does that change American life? Are we this far advanced?
Well, I do think it's going to be a very shocking moment. I think the pace of technological change and innovation would surprise most Americans. Now, the optimistic version of this is that a lot of the innovation, a lot of the advances are happening right here in America and more broadly the free world. The more concerning side of it is a lot of the manufacturing, the heavy investment in robotics that's happening in China is really breathtaking. And if we allow them to continue to emerge as a manufacturing superpower, we're going to be in a very precarious position. So it's absolutely essential that we here in America dictate the rules of the road when it comes to the ethical use of this technology, as well as control the commanding heights of critical technology, whether it's in AI, whether it's in embodied AI via robotics, or whether it's in synthetic biotech. We need the good guys to be the dominant actors and the genocidal communists not to control those commanding heights.
All right, I want to follow up on that, but this is Elon Musk answering a similar question.
You said recently tens of billions of robots, but that's decades away.
At least 1 decade away.
It's got to be more than that.
It's going to grow very fast.
Why do you think that?
I think humanoid robots will be the biggest product ever. The demand will be insatiable.
All right, so there's a couple things at work here, and you mentioned them in your last answer. We're talking about AI, we're talking about robots, but we're talking about technology and the battle with China and who wins this battle and whether or not these robots, turn into, weapons and are used in battle. And that, I know, is a big part of your work at Palantir. Are we ahead? Are we behind? If so, how far?
Well, robots are already being used as weapons on the battlefield of Ukraine. What is a one-way attack drone that can do visual and terrain mapping in flight other than a robot? So it's absolutely essential that that first contact layer in future warfare is done by a robot and not by a human. And that's, again, a technology we need to invest in. Part of the problem we're grappling with is that in the commercial market, commercial drones, for example, China has had a dominant position. In our attempts in Congress, when I was there to ban Chinese drones for use even in government facilities, met with opposition and lobbying. So this is an area where I think the Pentagon has a huge opportunity, particularly if reconciliation passes, to make a generational investment in next generation, in autonomy, in the software and AI layer that links autonomous systems together, and actually surge those systems where they're needed most to keep the peace, i.e. the Indo-Pacific. The Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth, has signaled as much. Now we do make sure that the dollars actually flow to those investments so that new companies, cutting-edge companies, can play a greater role when it comes to defense in the future.
Yeah, it sounds like our work is cut out for us. And, you think about World War II, we were behind in terms of production of planes and what we needed to fight World War II. We had to accelerate really quickly in order to get up to speed and to beat Germany and Japan, which we did. I hope we still have that same kind of motion and impulse and ability to pull it off. Mike Gallagher, former congressman, thank you so much. Always good to see you. Head of Defense at Palantir.
Thank you.
Hey, it's Will Cain. Click here to subscribe to the Fox News channel on YouTube. It's the best way to get our latest interviews and highlights. And click to subscribe to the Will Cain podcast for full episodes right now.